Oh, let's compose ourselves. Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and I am joined this afternoon by Kevin McCluskey, Lawrence Conley, Laura Bradburn. It's 1-0. It's Jota on the wing. And let's talk about the goal before we do anything else. And I'll tell you something, right? You go on about flair players. Their flair players are prancing about that park today thinking they're hard men. Our flair players make it happen, and that's the difference, right? I'm going to come to you first, Laura. That was an outstanding goal. I'll tell you something. First of all, Matt O'Reilly's doing really well. He's impeded the play on. Maeda, sharp as attack, switched wings, great ball. Jota scores. What a record he's got against Rangers.
Do you know, there's multiple parts of that goal are satisfying. The fact that they just switched wings a few minutes before means that obviously Ange has made the right call again and deserves credit for that. There's the fact that we continued playing to the whistle despite another decision going against us from a referee who seems incapable of awarding all the free kicks that he should be doing, and certainly not dishing out the cards that he should. I think so far there's only one yellow card in the first half that's gone to Borna Barisic, when, to be honest, there could have been multiple dished out to multiple players, and in some cases multiple to the same player. But the thing that I really loved about that goal, obviously Jota's on his toes to come in for the header and beat Tavernier in front of goal, but it's Maeda that really makes that goal. O'Reilly gets fouled and is quite rightly remonstrating with the ref to try and get the free kick. And I don't know who the Rangers player is, number 43, I think it was, who actually fouled him, is standing, pointing at everybody else, saying, "Where are you? What are you doing?" None of them are moving, and that's when Maeda steals in. And to quote my dad, he says, "I love a classy Celtic goal, but I love a Rangers goal that makes them look silly." So yeah, that was absolutely class. Just a perfect way to end the first half.
It certainly was. And, in that first half, Maeda on the left-hand side, he's done so well to get a ball in a wee bit earlier, and it's rolled under Jota's boot, Kevin. So there's a few things here, a few elements. Maeda's done it on the left, he's done it on the right, but also Jota, even with that disappointment, he's not allowed that to affect his composure second time round, has he?
He's definitely not. No. I think Maeda's been probably our best player in that first half. I think he's been fantastic. He's closed them down. Tavernier, Goldson haven't had a chance to compose themselves in the ball. He's been right on top of them. He's been the danger man. He's the one that's been whipping in those danger balls, and that one for Jota just before, like you say, what a cross that one was with the left foot, just whips it in, perfect delivery. The one man you want in the end of it is Jota, and he takes his eye off the ball, lets it go through.
He's got the Crocs on, mate. He's got the Crocs on.
Well, that's probably where it was. So that's why he's switched wings, actually. He's gone to the other side to change his boots.
Exactly.
And he's got his shooting. He's got
the Preds. He's got the retro Preds. Yes.
But again, I mean, what would you say about that second goal? The first goal that Laura hasn't already picked up on. It's just a brilliant goal. It just epitomises that team, everything about it. Because I think it begins with McGregor taking a quick free kick. O'Reilly's got the ball, good bit of skill. He's brought it down. That's a free kick, but the ref's not giving it either. There's not even a hand motion of advantage to play on. He's just not given anything for that. And Maeda's got the quickness. I thought, there's a loose ball, I'm on it. I know someone will be at the back post, and it's Jota. And he's done that before as well. He's stolen in at the far post. In other games, he doesn't let a miss affect him. He's straight back on it. And what a goal. And it's just brilliant. It's like the 3-0 game when Abada steals in and Barisic sits himself down on his backside. Only this time it's Tavernier that's doing it, because he's just made an absolute fool of him. He's stealing in. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely do. And the thing as well, Lawrence, there's a point coming up here. Michael Warner saying, loving the crowd noise, but is anyone else unable to hear the commentary? I wish I was, Michael, because the commentary isn't the game I've been watching. See, when we scored that goal, Lawrence, there was all this talk about the fact that they were in control of this game. I'm sorry, I never saw that in the slightest. I did not see that. Celtic, you can give me possession stats all you want. I didn't think we were under the cosh at any point during that first half.
Well, now Michael Beale's lost the Michael Beale League. I think he's went to shots and target league or something. So 3 shots on target and then none. Up to that point, and that made it 40 to none on target. So yeah, first 20 minutes, it was a bit scrappy. After that, I thought we'd taken control. Jota, it wasn't lethal on the deck as we come to expect, but it's definitely deadly in the air. And yet again, a goal from captain penalties side of the park. Those fans out there must be wondering what's going on.
But he scored 100 goals for Rangers. He scored 100 goals for Rangers, Lawrence.
Yeah, indeed. But even the Rangers players stopped. They knew it was a foul. And I think it was Raskin that fouled him.
It was Raskin, Laura.
Yeah.
And he was a player standing shouting that the defender's going to clear that, and they're going, "What do you mean? You've just fouled him?" It was all the ref that didn't think it was a foul, and how he's not sent Barisic off at the end for diving. Unbelievable.
That's the worrying thing for me, Lawrence, going into the second half, is the only man in the stadium that doesn't recognise that's a foul on O'Reilly is the ref, the only one that can give it.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, right in the very end, Barisic, and that's a second yellow. It's that much of a second yellow that even Ali McCoy's had to admit it.
The thing is, I want to talk about the refereeing, Kevin, because I think you were reminded at the end of the half. It would have maybe not been discussed as much had that not happened. But see, throughout the entire game, I think the refereeing has been appalling. Now, we were on the pre-match, so I didn't know that Colm had pulled up with an injury and that we were going to be refereed by someone completely different. So that was a wee bit of a surprise in the first half. Obviously, John Beaton had to quickly finish his pint in the Loudon to come along to be the fourth official as well. So I'm not using this as an excuse for the ref, right? Because he needs to do his job right. But from minute one, Kyogo gets absolutely chopped. And by the way, there's been 3 occasions where Kyogo has been chopped in that first half, and not one of them has resulted in a yellow card. The one with Davis, going back to the commentary, Davis, I don't know if it was an elbow or forearm, he gets him in the neck. He's not pretending. And the commentary team are going, "Oh, he's such a wee guy, Kyogo, this kind of thing happens." No, the boy has got a flailing arm and it hits Kyogo. So I think the referee has
over his shoulder. He's looked over his shoulder and he knows Kyogo's coming. So he knows what he's doing when he puts his arm out.
100%.
Do you know another really satisfying thing that I love? When somebody goes out to hurt another player and ends up hurting themselves.
Correct.
Already.
Yes.
I find good lady karma in good service there, and despite the obvious reaction of the player concerned, I think you reap what you sow in these situations.
You do. I made the point during the first half, Laura, about the Rangers flair players thinking they're hard men in this first half, right? Now, we all love a bit of dig. We love the combative style of someone like Johnson. We love it when it starts getting a bit scrappy, like Lauren says, when one of your players steps up to that. We do. That's football. I don't know if it's football beyond Scotland, but it's football as I know it.
Alistair Johnson is my favourite Celtic player at the moment, and he is not afraid of a scrap. So.
Exactly, yeah. But they're guys that are meant to be making things happen. Cantwell, Raskin, and Tillman, all I've seen from them is poor tackles, over-the-top tackles, and one of them, as you say, ended up injures himself and cries a few tears on his way off the park. So our flair players are doing what they're there to do, and I think there's a composure that's been lacked. Listen, you do something like that, you get a wee shout from the crowd, and they think that's enough. It's not enough. I think the controlled performance of Celtic's team under Ange Postecoglou in that first half has been perfect. I think Jota, I don't want to see him flying into tackles. If he did what Tillman did there, I would be disappointed. I wouldn't expect that from him in the slightest. A couple of players I want to talk about. Obviously, we're elated that we've just scored a goal a few minutes before half-time there in the 42nd minute. But I don't want to go through this half-time show and not discuss 2 people I think who have been brilliant in that first half for Celtic, and Joe Hart and Carl Starfelt. Now, we spoke about Joe Hart in the first show, Laura. I mean, even just near the end of that first half, twice, where maybe they were trying to turn the screw a wee bit before half-time, and he has come right up, even clattering his own defender to make sure that he clears the ball. He's been brilliant in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, I said what I said because I think those are legitimate criticisms of both Hart and Starfelt, but I'm not too proud to admit that. And we always say it on this show, any criticism that we have of any Celtic player, we're only too happy when they go on to prove us wrong. And they've done that today. They have been assured, they have been calm. There was that one bit of miscommunication between Starfelt and Carter Vickers that let Morelos in, but then I remembered it's Morelos, so whatever. That was the only time I saw any kind of issue there. So, but no, they've been absolutely fantastic. Just to go back to Cantwell though, he's got all the attitude without the ability. Do you know what I mean? He's putting himself about. He's like, and I know people in the chat love Aidan McGeady, right? And I went on to love Aidan McGeady as he matured as a player. But he's got all the worst bits of Aidan McGeady as a young player. Like, he's got all the jinky wee talents, and then he goes to hit a pass and he absolutely balloons it somewhere. And he's got all the attitude and all the talk back and all that with no output. And I'm aware that I'm probably naive to be saying this at half time in a football match. He could come out in the second half and score a hat trick and I'll end up looking very silly. But he, in my opinion, is just epitomises the Rangers team as a whole, like all attitude with no ability to match. And I think that's where they're falling down.
I bet you in that first half it's entered his mind that something has happened in the first half that he's going to upload onto his social media tonight. That's the type of player he is. We're talking about Joe Hart, Kevin, and we were singing his praises before the game and what he's brought to the dressing room. And, you know, we were talking even in the last game when McGregor and Barisic had a wee bit of handbags. It was Joe Hart who was restraining our captain, even though Callum went away laughing and giggling at the situation. But he's been massive in that first half for me.
Yeah, he has. These are the games that he thrives in because he's a big game player. He's always been a big game player throughout his career. And he comes into this game, he's got the right focus and mentality, the mindset's all spot on. As you said, in the last couple of minutes of the half, when they've thrown in a couple of crosses, he's going through everyone to make sure he's getting a touch on them. Rangers players, his own players, he'll clatter anyone just to get a touch on the ball and keep it out. Yeah, he's been very solid in that first half. He hasn't had much to do, but what he has done, he's done it well, and he's done it with that level of kind of confidence and assurance that then kind of resonates out through the rest of the team, and everybody gains a lift and a confidence through him because, again, you know you've got the solid player behind you, and it drives everyone on to that next wee level.
Yeah, it definitely does. And you know what Kevin just said there, Lawrence, about it giving the confidence to the defence. I think our defence has been outstanding. Laura pointed out probably the only tiny blot in the copybook in that first half, but other than that, Starfelt has won everything in the air. Actually, this follows a performance against Rangers in the 3-2 game where he overshadowed Carter Vickers, unusually, as for me being a top defender. But I think also Johnson and Taylor have been outstanding in that first half. We spoke about their importance in the pre-match show, and I think both of them have been excellent in the first half, Taylor especially.
Yeah, Taylor's been great, but let's be honest, we all liked Johnson's checking Cantwell. We know, like, Cantwell likes a roll about the deck, though, doesn't he? You know, but it was good to see because we're taking some pretty heavy treatment at that point.
Yes.
You know, we needed a player that's going to put a marker down. So, like, no, you know, he's maybe like dish out. Let's see if you can take it. And you know, it's Todd Cantwell was going to roll about. Taylor's been excellent again. Yeah, outstanding from Greg. It's been a really comfortable first half. Well, they haven't had a shot on target, so.
It's been comfortable, Lawrence, but I'm going to ask in terms of obviously the shift, not only in momentum, but in the fact that they're going to have to open up to try and create chances. And in the second half, for me, what I'd be doing is giving as much of the traffic down the right-hand side as possible, be that Jota or Maeda, and get them to run at Barisic. He's on a booking. He's dived near the end of the first half, should have got a second yellow. He fist pumped the Rangers crowd because someone kicked the ball off his backside and it went out for a throw-in. Did you see that? It was embarrassing. At least when I used to do it, it was because he had just won a really important tackle. So my kind of game plan in setting half, what I would expect is for us to go right down the right as much as possible, throw everything down the right, but get Hatate into the game as well, Kevin. Because, I mean, he played a ball that kind of, you know, ended up out the park there just at the end of the first half. But he's not been in the game as much as we would like.
You've been the poorest of our players so far. I think we've dominated the game. I think we've controlled it, and it's kind of gone the way that we want it to go. But Hatate's been is it harsh to say he's been the weak link in the team? He's been the weakest performer in that first half, which probably you expect given how long he's been out. And that's probably was the doubt as to whether you start him because he's missed 5 weeks. Is he match fit to play? He's not quite been at it. But like Lawrence said before the game, I think he is the kind of player that if he only needs his one chance. You know, if we can get him the ball in the right position, you know he's got the ability to pick the pass or to take the shot on. So, yeah, if we can get him more involved, we need to do it. If not, if it's not working after 10, 15 minutes, Water comes on.
Yeah.
And he's been brilliant the last few games. and we
Absolutely.
control it. And he was the guy that pretty much won us the last game because he won the midfield back for us after we were losing it for that spell.
100% he did.
Yeah, it's not a big thing actually if Ataki doesn't perform well in the second half again, because I think the player that's coming off the bench can raise us to a next level once again.
Yeah. Now, Barisic is still in a part. They have kicked off the second half, so I stick by that. Let's attack down the right-hand side as much as possible. We will be rejoining the action, so thank you, everybody, for getting involved. I'm always loath to cut off the stream when there's about 1,000 people tuning in. So thank you all for tuning in, and thank you also to Kevin, Lawrence and Laura for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.
Cheers.